Hi there, this is Solitaire Owner from Solitaire Owner Films, and welcome to another updated collection video. And today I'm going to show you my Third Window films and Kino Lorber Blu-rays. Now, Third Window is primarily Asian cinema, mostly Japanese, and I'm ashamed to say I don't actually have that many. It's one label that I really need to get more releases. They do quite a lot on DVD as well that they don't actually have released on Blu-ray. And Kino Lorber are a wonderful company from the States who do lots of old westerns, film noir, some cult things. But the one drawback of Kino Lorber, just speaking on a selfish level, is the fact when they have their sale on, they don't actually ship internationally, which, to be honest, is probably a good thing, because when they have their sale, the prices do plummet on their website, so I would probably be spending rather a lot of money if they did ship overseas. And there's titles that I got on Kino Lorber Region A because there wasn't a Region B release. And as time has passed, there's actually been Region B releases. So for example, I have Richard Lester's wonderful How I Won the War on Region A, because at the time that was the only Blu-ray you could get, whereas that's since been released by BFI, and there's a couple of Billy Wilders that have now been released by Eureka Massa Cinema. So I'm just going to quickly go through this. This shouldn't take too long. Again, let me know which titles you have, which films you've seen, and which ones are amongst your favourite. And we'll just start Third Window with Takeshi Kitano's Dolls. Third Window do have a bunch of Kitano, which is very good. So if you're new to Kitano or would like to see more Kitano, Third Window films, you can wait until there's a sale on, and prices on Amazon fluctuate for Third Window Blu-rays. You can pick up some really cheaply if you're willing to wait. Dolls is probably Kitano's best film without Kitano in it himself. It's ravishingly beautiful. There's, like, if you can see the images, I mean, the cinematography is luscious. The shot composition's wonderful, as all Takeshi Kitano films are. It's an episodic story by nature. Some people might find it a little slow moving, but it's quite beautiful. Next is Fires on the Plain by Shinya Sakamoto, who directed Tetsu, Snake of June and Tokyo Fist. I haven't actually watched Fires on the Plain yet. This is Kitano's early funny one, Getting Any. So I've still to watch. This is Grateful Dead, which I've still to watch. This is Kitano's Kids Return, wonderful coming of age film again without Kitano in it. Story of two kids, one becomes a Yakuza, one becomes a boxer, and now their paths collide. Beautiful little film with Kitano's usual sense of humour, which you'll either love or not so much. Next is Kikijiro, another Kitano, about a boy who's taken by a thug on a nice little road movie, meeting hilarious members of the public as they go. Next, if it's not Kitano, it's Takashi Miike. This is Lesson of Evil. This is one of Takashi Miike's lesser ones. It's kind of just joyless and fairly nasty as pretty much a school massacre. Yeah, not his best film. Next is Memories of Katsuki. I beg your pardon, that's a completely different film. It's Memories of Matsuko. Katsuki is a completely different film. It's Matsuko. Again, I've still to watch this. This is a common theme, as you probably know. Next on the list is The Wonderful One Cut of the Dead, which I made a random review of because it's just such an awesome film. It's surprising, a lot better than you think the first half hour, the way it's going, but then it just takes a little shift and it's just wonderful. Kitano's other film, where he's not in it, A Scene at the Sea. This is a simple, beautiful, quiet little film, which isn't necessarily what you say about Kitano films. Next is 3 early films by Toshiaki Toyoda. Trying to butcher his name quite so much. It has Porno Star from 1998, Unchained from 2000, which is a documentary about boxing, and 9 Souls from 2003. And I have yet to watch them. And finally on the list, Uzumasa Limelight, which of course I have yet to watch. So sadly that is all the 3 third window films that I have. Yeah, I feel as though I should have more, but I don't. So on to Kino Lorber. Avanti, which has since been released on Eureka Cinema. This is Late Wilder from 1972. It's not his best. It's 140 minutes. It probably could have lost 20 minutes to half an hour. But again, it's great seeing Jack Lemmon, and if you've ever wondered what Jack Lemmon's bottom looks like, you'll get to see it in Avanti. Next is Barquero with Lee Van Cleef and Warren Oates, about a guy who uses a barge to cross river, and there's a gang of bandits led by Warren Oates who want to get across, and Lee Van Cleef says no. It's not perfect, 115 minutes, again probably 15 minutes too long, but did I say Warren Oates and Lee Van Cleef are in it? That's really all you need to know. Kino Lorber, some of the discs, some of the releases have really good extras with commentaries and making of. Others are fairly scant, just with a trailer or two, but some of them have got really good extras. Here we have Bend of the River, one of James Stewart's Anthony Mann Western collaborations. Lovely little film. There is a bunch of Kino Lorber that I really need to invest in as well, but this is the Blood Beast Terror. It is in the Redemption label, but it is actually partnered with Kino Lorber, so I'm counting it. This is from 1968 with Peter Cushing. This is actually a little disappointing. It is very silly, but again, it could have been a lot better. Next is a bizarre little film called Burnt Offerings, from 1976, with Oliver Reed and Karen Black. Obviously, I can't remember when Amityville was, but it's kind of along those lines. It's very unusual. James Woods and Cop. I think this is one of the first Region A's I bought just to get cop. James Woods is sleazy and incendiary. Again, at 110 minutes, probably 15 minutes too long. It has a wonderful ending. Great supporting turn by Charles Durning, as always. Next is one of my favourite blaxploitations of all time, Cotton Comes to Harlem. And again, one of the main reasons I got a multi-region Blu-ray player, so I could pick this up, because I do love it. Gravedigger and Coffin Ed are the two cops. I mean, with nicknames like that, it's just fantastic. Next on the list is one of my favourite hocoms of all time, Deep Rising, with Treat Williams and Famke Janssen. And it's directed by Stephen Sommers, which I think it says his best film. I believe this is 25th anniversary edition, and it has a ton of extras. It's got a commentary with Stephen Sommers, interviews with the actors, interviews with FX, interviews with lots of people. It's fantastic. Anybody says it isn't is wrong. Next on the list is Hangover Square. Again, I've made countless videos about this, countless videos about Laird Krieger. This is just a wonderful film. John Bram, Indicator, their next releases with the Hammer Volume 5 box set. It's another John Bram film, The Mad Magician with Vincent Price, which I cannot wait for, because that'll be my fourth John Bram film, and he's quickly becoming rather good in my eyes. Next on the list is John Boorman with another unconventional film, Lee Marvin, Toshiro Mifune in Hell in the Pacific. Wonderful. This includes an alternate ending. Yeah, the ending was controversial for the studios and everybody else. Here's How I Won the War, Richard Lester's just... It gets better every time you see it. Roy Kinnear, Michael Crawford, John Lennon, Michael Hordern, Avoid the Wily Pathan, I Die in North Africa. I think it's probably my third favourite war film. You know, that's a bit of an oxymoron, but I think it's probably about my third favourite war film now. It just gets better every time you watch it. Next is another late Billy Wilder, Irma la Douche. Again, this has been released on Eureka Masters of Cinema, but again, I probably won't double up, just because again, it's not Wilder's best. This is from 1963. This is 143 minutes. Again, we'll lose 25 minutes. But again, it's Jack Lemmon, and you can't say no to Jack Lemmon. Next is another Laird Krieger, who's, even though he's not actually credited, I Wake Up Screaming, which is a wonderful flashback within a flashback noir, with flashbacks about the flashbacks, with Betty Grable and Victor Mature, and of course Laird Krieger. Next is a great little noir with Burt Lancaster, Elizabeth Scott and Kirk Douglas, I Walk Alone. Again, I think I've done a random review on this one. Next is Michael Mann's fantastic little film about running in prison, The Jericho Mile. And this is a really nice print. If only Michael Mann would let go of the keep, so we could get that in Blu-ray, but that's never going to happen. Next, again, Laird Krieger, the best Jack the Ripper film, George Sanders, directed by John Bram. I've done countless videos on this one as well. This has 2 commentaries on it, and a featurette of the making of. Stunning film. If you buy one Kino Lorber release, make it a lodger. It's sensational. Next on the list is Made for Each Other, with the wonderful Carol Lombard and James Stewart. Again, It's a film that you think is going to be a screwball comedy, and it turns out to be something rather bleaker. Next on the list is a film directed by Ray Milland, A Man Alone, starring Ray Milland. It's a really interesting little western, also starring Raymond Burr and Lee Van Cleef. Again, I'd never heard of it. I never even realised that Ray Milland had directed films, even though in this it's directed by R. Milland. I wonder who that could be. I think that is Ray Milland. Next is Miracle Mile, which again is an odd little film from the 80s. Again, it's on Arrow, but I have it in Kino Lorber, just to be twisted. Next on the list is a film that I should hate on every level, but I do have a real soft spot for it, which is Mr. Destiny, with James Belushi and Michael Caine and Linda Hamilton. About how your destiny can change with one swing of the bat. It's cheesy and corny, but it's really enjoyable. Next is Nothing Sacred, which is a 2 scan, because I think this already had this on Blu-ray, but it wasn't a very good scan, and this is the Kino Lorber second release that they actually did a 2K on the master. Directed by William Wellman. Again, the luminous Carol Lombard, Frederick March, about a woman who kind of pretends she's dying so she can get a trip to New York. We've all done it. Next is, again, I've made a video about this. It's Panic in Year Zero with Ray Milland and Frankie Avalon, bizarrely. Again, directed by Ray Milland. It's pretty much how society goes bananas once they have nuclear power. Next on the list, Mario Bava, Planet of the Vampires. Wow. Just wow. I may have to do a separate video about this. I mean, Bava with no money is pretty much better than rather a lot of directors who have hundreds of millions of dollars to spend. The colour palette in this is just wondrous. Even within a frame, you'll have like 4 different colours going on. The fact that there's a huge kind of nod that Alien may have ripped off. I'm sure Dan O'Bannon, Ridley Scott denies ever having seen this, but I'm sure Dan O'Bannon maybe saw this. The fact that they are kind of alerted to this planet because of a distress beacon, and they find strange organisms, and there's even another ship of a much bigger race who are like rather large, who are piloting. Yeah, it's, I mean, if you're being cynical, you could say it's a load of nonsense, but the colour palette, the ideas, you know, the shots in slow motion, it's just, there's a commentary by Mario Bava biographer Tim Lucas. It's sensational. Speaking of which, Rawhead Rex, based on the Clive Barker story, and again this is commentary, which is really interesting, and a bunch of extras. It's nonsense but fun. Solar Babies, which is nonsense and okay, it's a wee bit fun. What a cast. Richard Jordan, Jamie Gertz, Jason Patric, Lucas Haas, Charles Durning again, music by Maurice Jarre. Couldn't make it now, because nobody would want to. Another Jim Belushi terrible but enjoyable film, Taking Care of Business, with Charles Grodin, which was also known as Filofax. And this is a commentary by the screenwriter, not the director or the producer or any stars, but the screenwriter. Next on the list, now we're talking quality, The Taking of Pelham 123. This is the 40-year anniversary one. I already had in Region B, but this is a new interview with Hector Elizondo. Hector Elizondo, that's better. Interview with the composer, interview with the editor. There is an audio commentary by two historians who have the same last name. Maybe they're related. What can you say about this? 1974, the year of my birth, and what a film. Never been bettered. Robert Shaw, Walter Matthau, Martin Balsam, sneezing. It's practically flawless. Speaking of a film that's not flawless, They're Playing with Fire with Sybil Danning. This is kind of the range you get with Kino Lorber. This is a bizarre film. It's part, Porky's high school sex comedy. It's part giallo. It's part slasher. It's part, it's a mess is what it is, but it's a fine performance by Sybil Danning as a woman. Next is The Undying Monster, another John Bram, which is, it's not as great as his two Laird Krieger George Sanders films, but I mean it's only 63 minutes and he packs in 63 minutes rather well. Again, there's a commentary, there's a restoration feature. Great wee film. When you've got an hour and 3 minutes, bang on The Undying Monster. Next on the list is The Wild Heart, but that's not why I bought it, because it has gone to earth. The Wild Heart is the butchered David O. Selznick cut because he was married to Jennifer Jones at the time. And obviously Gone to Earth is the Powell and Pressburger proper film, which is just luscious and beautiful. But Selznick obviously didn't understand it, so he re-edited it down to 86 minutes and called it The Wild Heart. But you get Gone to Earth in high definition as an extra. So that's why I got it, because again, it's the only place you can get Gone to Earth. I may watch The Wild Heart just out of interest at some point, but it's for Gone to Earth, which is just luscious. And finally on the list, Witness to Murder, with another one of my favourite actors, George Sanders, and also stars a young Barbara Stanwyck. It's a lovely little battle of wits, which ends in a stunning finale, which you shouldn't watch if you have vertigo. Witness to Murder. So I mean, if Kino Lorber did ship internationally, I would probably get into a bit of trouble, because they do have lots of lovely little films that you've either never heard of that are noirs or westerns or anything in between. So thank you very much for watching this fairly random collection video. Again, let me know in the comments below which releases of these you have, or which films that I've briskly went through you're a fan of, and hopefully we'll see you again for another updated collection video. This is Saul Sharon saying farewell, and I apologise for all the names I butchered.